Hello, friends, and thank you for tuning in to the Legend Sports Universe YouTube channel. Legend Sports Universe, where legends play forever. This is the Franchise Stars Baseball League. Year 3 of the FSBL has reached September 1st. This is going to be fairly short. This is not going to be a game broadcast, but instead, as we enter the final month of the regular season. Just want to take a look at the current postseason picture as we head into the final month, see where each team sits, check out the matchups over the final month of the season. And we'll do a quick leaderboard check as well before we resume game broadcasts here on the channel tomorrow. We start off with the best race in the FSBL, the National League East, where the Braves and the Phillies are tied for first place on September 1st, 79 and 58. The Braves have dropped the first two of a three-game set to the Mets at the moment, but the Mets still pushed kind of into the rearview mirror, even though they've won 5 straight and 8 of 10. The Mets had a real bad stretch for about 6 weeks there. Their offense went ice cold. The Phillies were able to leapfrog them and close on the Braves to get themselves level with Atlanta. So we're going to take a look at those two teams first here as we'll check out their schedules heading into the final month. And we'll give the Mets a glance too, because the Mets are actually a little bit interesting. For one thing, they're on the wild card picture. But we'll start off with the Braves. So the Braves have 6 games against the Reds. The Braves also have 3 games against the lowly Cubs, 3 games against the Astros, who aren't very good, 3 games against the Expos, I'm sorry, 5 games against the Expos, who aren't very good. But this is the series we want to keep an eye on. September 27th, 28th, and 29th, the final 3-game series of the regular season, a 3-game set in Philadelphia. The Braves will visit the Phillies, and it is quite possible that the National League East Division title will be on the line when those two teams clash in that series. We'll head over to check out the Phillies. The Phillies have a pretty easy schedule as well. The Phillies, unlike the Braves, though, who are done with the Mets, the Phillies have 6 games against the Mets in the middle of the month. They also have 3 games against the Dodgers, who are also in the playoff picture. So the Phillies have a little bit of a tougher go here in September than the Braves do, which could again put that final series of the month into a very vital situation for the Phillies, particularly as long as the Mets can hang to their playoff lives. We're going to take a quick look. We're going to jump up to the wild card scenario for a minute. Your wild card stats right now, there you see the Braves and Phillies. Whoever wins the division obviously wins it. Whoever loses it would currently hold the first wild card spot. The Cardinals and the Dodgers are tied for the second wild card spot. The Mets are a game and a half behind them. The Reds 3 games back of that second wild card spot. So the Mets are still very much in the thick of the wild card picture. They've got Tom Seaver coming back from injury sometime in mid-September. So if the Mets are in striking distance and they can get 4 starts out of Seaver down the stretch, 5 is probably pushing it based on the timeline for his injury. But if you can get 4 starts out of Seaver down the stretch, if you're the Mets are still very much in the playoff picture. I don't think they're chasing down the Braves or the Phillies, but the wild card situation is very much in play for the Mets because they also have a very easy schedule outside of those 6 games against the Phillies here in September. They wrap up the series in Atlanta, but then they've got 4 games in Milwaukee. The Brewers stink. They play 6 games against the Marlins, 6 games against the Expos, and a pair against the Rays, all bottom feeders. So if the Mets can clean up on those games outside of the matchups against the Phillies and then get themselves a split of those 6 games with the Phillies, I think the Mets are going to be in pretty good shape as far as that wild card spot. But again, the real series to watch here, that 3-game set at the end of September between the Braves and the Phillies in Philadelphia. We'll take a quick look now at the National League Central, where the Pirates continue to do it. And you know what? Enough of saying the Pirates are doing it with mirrors. The Pirates are just playing flat out a good team. They've put the naysayers to bed at this point. The Cardinals pitching has been dreadful this year. Um, the Pirates pitching has stepped up huge, but look at the division record for the Pirates. The National League Central, again, the Brewers and the Cubs are not very good. The Cubs, once again, have fallen off as of August 1st. The Reds have been okay, but the Pirates have gone 43 and 22 in the division. The Cardinals have only gone 28 and 25. That is your difference right there. But you'll also see what that means is that the Pirates have played 65 games in the division, while the Cardinals have only played 53. So the Cardinals have a huge division schedule coming up in this final month. They get the three against the Pirates at the start of the month. They also end with three against the Pirates. But the Cardinals are in a pretty big hole right now, which means that in order for those games, particularly that 3 game set in Pittsburgh, to close out the regular season, to really matter for the Cardinals, they are going to have to clean up in this stretch. Three against the Cubs. They play home and home against the Cubs. They also play home and home against the Reds. Again, the Reds very much in the playoff picture. So those are going to be 6 pivotal games. The Blue Jays still have something to play for in the American League as well. We'll get to them. You've also got the 4 games against the Brewers. So the Cardinals, while they do have divisional matchups, it's largely against the Pirates, who are the division leaders, and the Reds, who are still in the wild card hunt. So if the Cardinals are going to make this postseason, the Cardinals are going to have to earn their way there. I think the Pirates pretty much have this division locked up. This would be a pretty epic collapse by Pittsburgh, and they're not really showing any signs of getting to that point. The Reds, those 6 games against the Cardinals could be huge for Cincinnati. Again, Cincinnati's only 3 games out of the wild card, but they also have 6 games. Yeah, 7 games. That's right. That's a 4 game set. The Reds have 7 games against the Atlanta Braves. And as we mentioned, the Braves are in the tightest fight in baseball, tied for the National League East Division lead. So the Braves are going to be loaded for bear throughout those 7 games. So the Reds probably have the toughest situation to that 3 game set in Cincinnati. But they've got, again, the 7 against the Braves, they've got 6 against the Cardinals, and they've got 4 against the first place Pirates. So if the Reds are going to go and make up the distance to get themselves into that wild card spot, they are going to have to earn it in a big, big way. We'll take a look now out at the National League West. Again, I'm doing this for fun and kind of good, but the Giants, kind of like the Pirates, have gone in the Central. A terrific division record, 46 and 14, compared with the fact that the Dodgers are only a game above 500 in that National League West. So the Giants have taken over have kind of ruled the roost there in the West, the defending champions and the 2 time division champions, 2 time National League champions. They've gone to the World Series both years of the FSBL. The Giants, however, every game for the Giants means something because they're trying to secure home field advantage. They've got a game, it's really a half a game on the Pirates, and the Braves and Phillies both have 79 wins. So the Giants haven't run away and hid this season. So the Giants are going to be pressured quite a bit. We'll take a look at the Giants' schedule as we get into this final month. 7 games against the Dodgers. If the Dodgers are to pull off a miracle, that's where they can do it. They will have their opportunity. 4 games set in San Francisco, 3 games in LA. But the Giants also deal 3 games with the Pirates and what could be a postseason preview there as well. They get 3 against the Rockies, 3 against the D-backs to close out the season. They've also got 3 left against the lowly Padres and 3 against the Cubs. So I don't think realistically the Dodgers have a crack at chasing down the Giants. I think the Giants have this division locked up. But the Dodgers fight for the wild card gets interesting. Take a look at the Dodgers schedule here. And in addition to those 7 games against the Giants, they also have a 3 game set against the Pirates and a 3 game set against the Phillies. So that's a lot of games that the Dodgers have to play against teams that are in meaningful games for the teams they're playing against. They do have 6 games against the Padres. They do have 6 games against the Diamondbacks. So for the Dodgers to make this postseason, they've really got to clean up. They need like a 10-2 run there against those Padres and Diamondbacks series. And then they can have a little bit of a margin for error in the games against the Giants and the Phillies. Again, the Dodgers right now tied for the second wild card in the National League. We'll take one more look at that National League wild card picture. Again, Braves and Phillies fighting for the National League East Division title. Whoever would lose that right now would be that first wild card. Cardinals and Dodgers tied for the second wild card. Mets a game and a half back. The Reds 3 games back. I know the Rockies are only 6.5 back technically. The Rockies have shown no sign of being able to make any kind of a push that's going to thrust them into that. If the Rockies can get themselves within 5, then we'll start dealing with the Rockies as being in the playoff picture. But at the moment, I think the Rockies are pretty firmly entrenched on the outside looking in. Let's go and head over to the American League. We start in the American League East, where the Yankees Red Sox dogfight continues to go back and forth. Those teams have swapped the division lead multiple times over the course of the year, but the Yankees have had it for the majority. The Yankees have won 8 of 10, they've won 4 in a row, and now they have a 2.5 game lead on the Red Sox. The Blue Jays have cooled off a little bit recently, but the Blue Jays very much in the picture. Let's check out the Yankees and Red Sox schedules, and we'll get to the Toronto schedule as well. Start off with Boston here, and you will see 7 games in September between the Red Sox and the New York Yankees. 3 in the Bronx, September 9th, 10th, and 11th, and then 4 games at Fenway, the 19th through the 22nd. We will broadcast the game on the 21st here on the channel as our American League game of the week. The Red Sox also have to deal with the 3 games against the Blue Jays, who again are in the hunt. They also have to deal with the once again runaway leaders for the best record in the American League, the Oakland A's. They play them 3. Big benefit here to the Red Sox. This is a 10-game homestand. The Red Sox season, the Red Sox playoff hopes are very much going to hinge. We'll push it back to the 3 games starting there against the Yankees, but that stretch from the 9th to the 22nd, the 3 games in the Bronx and then the 10-game homestand, I think are going to be much bigger to the Red Sox hopes than those 6 games against the Twins and the Mariners. The Mariners completely out of the playoff picture. And they've got 3 against the Mariners in Boston as well. Those 3 games against the Twins could be interesting because the Twins are still in the playoff picture. But really, it's going to be that 3-game series against the Yankees and then the 10-game homestand for the Red Sox that's going to really kind of set up whether the Red Sox are destined for the postseason again. I think the Red Sox are going to get there. I think they're going to get it done. We'll take a look at the Yankees schedule. The Yankees certainly have a much more favorable schedule than the Red Sox do. Of course, they do still have the 7 games against each other, obviously. But 6 games against the Rays, a pair against the Marlins, and 3 against the Orioles should give the Yankees an opportunity to have a little bit of breathing room, where as long as the Yankees don't tank it against the Red Sox, the Yankees will probably be able to find their way to a division title. Big series to keep an eye on, though. This 3-game set to end the season, the Yankees hosting the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays still very much in the picture. Let's take a look at the wild card standings in the American League quickly. And there you see your Blue Jays, 2.5 games behind the Indians for that second wild card spot. Rookie Josh Gibson has the Blue Jays. Well, again, they have cooled off a bit lately, but the Blue Jays still right in the thick of things. That 3-game series, the Yankees have been able to wrap up the division by that point. The A's are going to have home field throughout the playoffs, barring catastrophe. So the Yankees would have the opportunity to rest Guidry, to rest Whitey Ford in that series to wrap up the season, which would obviously be a huge, huge benefit towards Toronto. if they are still in the hunt. This is a series to watch. We'll broadcast the game there on the 14th between the Indians and the Blue Jays as an American League game of the week. Um, Broadcast as well because that game pivotal to both teams. The Indians currently hold the second wild card spot, and they're still trying to chase down the Detroit Tigers, while the Blue Jays are trying to track the Indians down for the wild card. Let me steal myself a quick beverage here. Non-alcoholic this time. Move on to the American League Central. And the Detroit Tigers continue to hold on to the division lead. The Indians have made a push at them, but the Tigers have been able to hold them off to this point. The Twins are now 6.5 back in the division. The White Sox are now 8.5 back in the division. So the Indians really seem to be the real threat here for the Detroit Tigers. Again, the Twins, 3 out of a wild card. The White Sox, 5 out of a wild card. So both of those teams are certainly still in the playoff picture. But the Indians have played much better baseball lately. Manny Ramirez, we'll get to him in a bit. Manny, after a cold start to the season, has gotten hot again. His average is not at a normal level, but Manny is now up to 37 home runs. So Ramirez has gotten hot with the power bat. The Indians have thrived as he has gotten hot, and the Indians are going to look for their third straight postseason berth. The Tigers' pitching continues to stand up. Can the Tigers hold off the Indians? Let's take a look at schedules, and we'll start off with Detroit. And here you go. 6 games against the Indians. They're in the schedule. They've also got 6 games against the Twins, 3 against the Royals, actually 4 technically because they're wrapping up a series in Kansas City right now. They've split the first 2. And then 3 against the White Sox to close things out. I suspect that by the time that series gets there, the White Sox are going to be on the outside looking in. I don't think the White Sox are going to be able to get themselves into the postseason spot. I just don't think they're strong enough. White Sox. So I just think the White Sox have too much to climb in order to get there. Of course, if the White Sox are out of it by that point, this last stretch of the Rangers, the Royals, and the White Sox becomes a little bit of a cruise control situation for the Tigers. So that it's 3 against Minnesota, 3 against Cleveland, 3 in Minnesota, 3 in Cleveland. That 12-game stretch for the Tigers could determine whether the Tigers can hold on to the AL Central. We'll take a look at the Tribe's schedule, and the Tribe basically exclusively in the division, with the exception of the 3-game set against the Jays, and then this 3-game set against the Angels. The Angels don't really, they're on the very, very outskirts of a wild card spot. But for all intents and purposes, I think that the Angels will be done by that point. So the Indians, if they're going to do anything, the Indians have to, if they Indians can get themselves within a game or two by the end of that second series against Detroit, the Indians may be able to overtake the Tigers. It's hard to bet against the Indians. They've got so much talent. But the Tigers have held this division lead pretty much from pole to pole. So, that we've been waiting for the Tigers to perhaps slide off a bit, and they haven't done it as of yet. K-Line's been terrific. The pitching staff has been very solid top to bottom. The rookie Schoolboy Rowe has been outstanding for Detroit. The Tigers are going to have to earn this to hold off the Indians, but they've done it to this point. We'll see if Detroit will wilt under the pressure of a September playoff race that the Indians have been through before as the 2-time division champions. We'll take a quick look at the Twins schedule as well, although we've kind of seen a lot of the Twins schedule in looking at those other matchups. The good for the Twins, obviously having matchups against other teams who they're fighting for the wild card spot, the 6 games against the Indians, particularly big. 3 games against the Red Sox as well. They should be able to take down the Royals. Even the Royals are so weird because the Royals are down in the cellar, but the Royals pitching is great. The Royals just can't hit. But the Royals staff is capable of throwing zeros at you, particularly a team that does not have a powerful lineup like the Twins. The Twins just aren't particularly loaded offensively. The only real coast series that the Twins have in this final month is this 3-game set against the Rangers. But the 3-game set against the A's, and that's before, if it was a week later, you could say the A's would probably be resting guys. The A's aren't going to be resting people at that point. So the Twins having that 3-game set against the A's certainly hurts their chances a little bit. We'll take a look at the White Sox real quick. The White Sox have a really easy schedule. I just don't think they can do it. I think there's too much for them to climb. But you've got 3 against the Rangers, 3 against the Mariners, 3 against the Rays, and 6 games against the Royals. Don't count the White Sox out, but I think that's going to be a tough order for them. Again, what is their count? The White Sox are 5 out of a wild card. They've got to climb 3 teams. They got to climb the Indians, Blue Jays, and Twins to get there. So if the White Sox are going to do it, the White Sox are going to have to take care of business. And the White Sox have just kind of been right at this kind of point, that 5-5 in their last 10, 5 games over 500. That's pretty much what the White Sox have been for the duration of the season. So because they haven't really shown you that ability to go on a real hot streak, I think that limits the White Sox ability to get themselves into the playoff spot. The Indians trying to chase down the Tigers and the Blue Jays' quest for a wild card spot are going to be the 2 things I really think are worth looking at in the American League as we come down the stretch in September. The American League West, not a race at all. That's pretty much been put to bed, to say the least. The A's, once again, the best team in baseball. I don't think they're going to get to their 111 wins as they have in each of the first 2 seasons. Remember, the A's won the year 1 championship and then had the best record in the regular season in year 2 before being dumped in the playoffs by the Red Sox a year ago. But the A's, again, the best record in baseball here in year 3. The A's want to get themselves back to a World Series and return the World Series trophy to Oakland. And they have dispatched of their division in pretty easy fashion, 19.5 up on the California Angels. So we'll go take a quick look at the leaderboards. Your batting average leader, Joe Mauer, currently leads the American League batting race at 334, trying to hold off the Tigers' Al Kaline. Kaline at 331. Kaline's led a lot of the season, for a good chunk of it anyway, but Mauer has caught him now. Jose Ramirez of the Indians is 3rd. Lou Gehrig is up to 4th in batting. Gehrig's power numbers had been good, but now his average has caught up with those numbers. Gehrig may very well be the American League most valuable player this season. Gehrig is having a terrific overall year. 39 homers, 86 RBIs, 326 average. He has just been absolutely amazing for the Yankees. He's been very good each of the first 2 years as well. But it's been a step up for Gehrig for the Yankees this year. Derek Jeter, last year's batting champion, 5th at 320. Eddie Collins, the year 1 batting champion, also at 320. Rookie Joe Gordon at 315. Jeff Bagwell, Lenny Dykstra, and Ted Williams. Williams has been slumping a bit as of late, but still at 307. The Splendid Splinter having another fine year, 33 homers, 84 RBIs for Williams, who the Red Sox are going to hope can get on a hot streak here, try to lead them to a division title or at least a playoff berth here in the season's final month. In the National League, surprise of the year, Bob Elliott, Pirates' 3rd baseman. And again, for the Pirates to have the kind of season that they're having, they needed to have a surprising season out of a couple of guys. That's the only way that was going to happen for them. And Elliott has had just a great year. Bob Elliott could hit for a bit of power, but Elliott's average here at 332, not what you were betting on. 292, coming off a year in which he hit 254. But Elliott has put it all together here in his 3rd season. You can see he's cut down on the strikeouts a bit. That on-base percentage, 382, compared with 312 and 344 in the first 2 years. Just a big step forward for the Pirates' 3rd baseman. He's going to try to hold off Sherry McGee of the Phillies, another underrated player, both in real life and here in the FSBL. Sherry McGee has his average up to 329. He's second in the league in batting. Hanley Ramirez, Lonnie Smith of the Braves has just enough at bats, I think, to qualify for the batting race. He's fourth. Matt Holliday of the Rockies, Rogers Hornsby, another sensational season for the Cardinals at 312. He has hit 298, 309, and 312 in his 3 years. He's over the 30 home run mark again. Just the best second baseman in the game, I think. Rogers Hornsby getting it done for St. Louis. Manny Sanguian, Dan Brothers of the Dodgers having another good year. Really nice season out of Tony Cuccinello for the Braves. Cuccinello's batting 307, as are Carlos Beltran and Christian Yelich. As we round out the top 10 in batting, we'll go to home runs. We'll stay in the National League first. Mel Ott has caught Chuck Klein, whose power numbers have settled down a little bit, although Klein, I do still think, is the National League most valuable player this year, as he has led the Phillies' resurgence as they have tried to track down the Braves. Again, that National League East now tied the Braves and the Phillies as we reach September 1st. Ott and Klein with 39 homers apiece, Jim Edmonds of the Cardinals and Gary Sheffield of the Marlins with 34, Hornsby, Storm, Gorman, Thomas with 32, and Gabby Hartnett. And Gabby Hartnett is out for the rest of the season, so Gabby Hartnett will stay at 32 homers. That's where he'll top off this year. But a fine year for Hartnett, who has seen his average go up, basically seen all of his numbers go up this year. The broken leg for Gabby Hartnett, pretty much just to signifying the way this has gone for the Cubs. As the Cubs continue to look for some help for that lineup, just not a great initial pool on their initial 40-man roster from their 100-player pool, but obviously all the other greats in Cubs history will come eventually. Ernie Banks, Billy Williams, Hack Wilson, etc., etc., etc. for the Cubbies. Ryan Sandberg. So they've got a load of guys in the pipeline who just haven't gotten into the FSBL yet. So Hartnett will get some help eventually. But right now, the Cubs have just struggled to score runs. And the injury to Gabby Hartnett, their best offensive player at the moment, certainly hurt things for them. There you see Larry Walker and Willie Stargell with 31 homers. Andy Van Slyke, the reigning most valuable player, Willie Mays, and the Phillies' Scott Rowland tied for 10th with 30 home runs, rounding out the top 10 in the National League. Let's check out Mays' stats for the year. A down year by Mays standards. I mean, last year, 342, 49 homers, 106 RBIs. He's not going to match that. But still, a hot September for Mays, and he could get to the 40 home run plateau again. So even a down season for Mays is still just a phenomenal season, in addition to playing a great center field. Um, check out the American League home run leaders. Lou Gehrig leads the American League in home runs with 39. Ken Griffey Jr. and Jose Bautista of the Blue Jays, as well as the suddenly scalding hot Manny Ramirez of the Indians, tied with 37. Mark McGwire of the A's with 36, Mike Trout and Frank Home Run Baker, who's having a great season for Oakland with 35. There you see the splendid splinter Ted Williams with 33 homers, and then Jeff Bagwell, Larry Doby, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and Mookie Betts, all with 32. And there's the rookie Josh Gibson. You know, Gibson, again, that average was really low for a while. So the average isn't going to end the season where he wants it, most likely. But still, Josh Gibson, rookie campaign, 273, 30 homers, 81 runs batted in. And he's still got a month left. So Gibson, he's going to battle it out with Joe Gordon for that American League Rookie of the Year. Both of them have been sensational. That'll be an interesting check to see who wins that. American League RBI leaders, Jose Bautista and Manny Ramirez, each with 93. Ken Griffey Jr. has 91. The reigning American League most valuable player, Jimmy Fox, has 88. Fox was slow out of the gate this year. Like Mays, he's not going to match his numbers from last year, but even so, 299, 28 homers, 88 RBIs with a month left in the season. Jimmy Fox's numbers will certainly be more than respectable. He's going to look to get to that 100 RBI plateau for a third straight season. Frank Baker with 87, Jeff Bagwell and Lou Gehrig tied with 86. Mike Trout and Reggie Jackson tied with 85, and there's Ted Williams again at number 10 with 84. Your National League RBI leaders, Chuck Klein, far and away the RBI leader in baseball. 114 RBIs for Chuck Klein. Klein's total numbers 290. His average has kind of cooled down a bit this season. I shouldn't say this season. Over the last month, Klein was hitting up around 320. Um, but still 39 homers, 114 RBIs. Klein has followed up a great rookie season with a exceptional sophomore campaign. Gary Sheffield second in RBIs with 97. Edmonds, Hartnett, and Walker. Ott and Roland tied with 85. Nate Colbert of the Padres, kind of an island to himself out there in San Diego. But Nate Colbert on the year, 28 homers, 84 RBIs. If he had anybody on base in front of him, Nate Colbert's numbers would look really, really good. Willie Mays, ninth in RBIs at 82. Andy Van Slyke is 10th. Take a quick look at the stolen base numbers. Lonnie Smith and Ozzie Smith and Bip Roberts and the Pirates Jake Stenzel, a four-way tie for the stolen base lead in National League with 39. Hamilton, Reyes, Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson, his rookie campaign, and Robinson's had a really nice year too. 292, 17 homers, 65 RBIs, 31 stolen bases for Robinson. The Dodgers just don't have a heck of a lot of offense around him. It's really been Robinson and Dan Bruthers. Zach Weed has had a down year. Campanella got hot in the second half, but Roy Campanella had a really rough first half for the Dodgers. The Dodgers need a little bit more pop into their lineup if they're going to try to compete with the Giants. Samuel, Castillo, and Rollins round out your top 10 in steals in the National League. In the American League, Kenny Lofton trying to dethrone Ricky Henderson as the stolen base king. Ricky has won it each of the first 2 years, unsurprisingly. But Kenny Lofton has 45 now. Henderson has 42. Eddie Collins with 38. Carl Crawford with 37. Ichiro with 34. Bump Wilson, Sean Figgins with 33. Chuck Knobloch with 31. Lenny Dykstra and Cesar Cedeno and Willie Wilson tied there. Willie Wilson, the rookie. A little bit of a disappointing campaign for Wilson, but he's still going to be a very formidable player in this league, I am inclined to think. Let's go take a look in the American League. We'll touch on wins quick, and then we'll check out ERA and strikeouts and bring this to a close. Eddie Plank of the A's leads the American League in wins at 16. You might not get a 20-game winner. We've had a few 20-game winners in each of the first 2 years of the FSBL. I'm not sure you're going to get a 20-game winner this year. Plank certainly could at 16. He's still got probably 6 starts left. So he could do it, but I wouldn't be shocked if we don't end up with a 20-game winner this year. Jack Chesborough, just back from injury for the Yankees. He's got 15. Hudson, Waddell, Guidry, and Grove. 3 more A's. A's and Yankees dominating the wins leaders, not surprisingly. Johan Santana is there. Gordon Maltzberger out of the bullpen has 13 wins for the White Sox. Schoolboy Rowe and Thornton Lee, a pair of rookies, along with Bert Blyleven, who almost threw a no-hitter a week ago, and Zach Greinke with the wins in the American League. In the National League, John Smoltz of the Braves leads the way with 16 victories. Rookie Cole Hamels and Padres rookie Dave Brown, a Negro League pitcher, along with Cliff Leach, have 15. Hubble, Anderson, Bunning, and Vance with 14. Lanier Pollitt, Sid Fernandez, and Tim Keefe of the Giants each have 13 victories. We'll take a look at ERA. Clayton Kershaw currently leads the National League as he has overtaken John Smoltz. Dave Brown, again, just a great season for him for the Padres. The Padres, 3/5 of their rotation is Negro Leaguers. They've taken Negro League pitching with their 1 Negro League pick in each round, in each year of the rookie draft. And 2 of them have worked well. Dave Brown and Nip Winters have both been good. Cheo Hernandez has not. Tom Seaver, as we mentioned, injured, but he's 4th in the league in ERA. So obviously the Mets getting him back if they can stay in the hunt. Seaver is due back. It says 2 to 3 weeks. It had said 1 to 2. So apparently Seaver had a little bit of a setback So that's between the 14th and the 21st for Seaver. The Mets might only get 2 starts out of Seaver when he comes back. That would hurt. That would hurt. No pun intended. Brian Anderson has had a fine year for the Diamondbacks. Kid Nichols, Sid Fernandez, Jim Bunning, Jeff Francis, and Ray Kremer round out your top 10 in ERA in the National League. In the American League, Schoolboy Rowe, rookie of the Tigers, has been sensational to this point. He is just ahead of Zach Greinke of the Royals. Again, the Royals pitching is sensational. The Royals just can't hit. Ron Guidry, Louisiana Lightning, another terrific season for Guidry. Guidry, over his 3 years, is now 51-20 with a 2.81 career earned run average. Guidry's been great, and Guidry very much looking forward to making the postseason this year for the Yankees and having Whitey Ford behind him. If you remember, right, Ford was injured last season when the Yankees made the postseason and was not able to appear in the series when the Indians dispatched of New York in the division series. Blyleven, Thornton Lee of the White Sox, James Shields of the Rays, Frank Tanana, Catfish Hunter, and Pedro Martinez. Martinez has gone a bit cold. I thought Martinez was going to be a lockdown for the American League Outstanding Pitcher Award. That may not happen now. Again, still a great season for Pedro. 12-5 at 2.80 earned run average. He's among the leaders in strikeouts. There's consistency for you. 2.79, 2.78, 2.80. That is about as good as it gets, folks. Pedro has been terrific for the Sox. We did ERA. We'll take a look at strikeouts, and then we will put this all to bed. The Dodgers have the top 3 strikeout pitchers in the National League: Van Mungo, Dazzy Vance, and Sandy Koufax, followed by Randy Johnson, Jim Bunning, Clayton Kershaw, Sid Fernandez, Dizzy Dean, although Dean, this is about as big a sophomore slump as you can get, folks. Dizzy Dean, 20-6, 2.66 as a rookie. Here in his sophomore season, 10-14, a 5.03 ERA. That ERA was up over 5.5 as of a couple of weeks ago. So Dean has finally started to put it together. And if the Cardinals can get into the postseason, they'll hope that Dean can really refine his form from a year ago. But you'll see, Dean gave up 25 homers all season in his rookie campaign. He's given up 28 already this year in 70 fewer innings. That is a huge, huge factor to Dean's struggles. Mario Soto and John Smoltz round out the top 10 in strikeouts in the National League. In the American League, Rube Waddell of the A's leads the way there. Frank Tanana of the Angels. Then Pedro, Lefty Grove, rookie Justin Verlander. The combination of Verlander and Schoolboy Rowe, although Verlander has cooled off a bit recently, has certainly helped the Tigers with their climb into prominence. The Tigers very disappointing over the first 2 years of the FSBL. David Price, Chris Sale, who has been very solid for the White Sox, Eddie Plank, Whitey Ford, and Mickey Lolich round out your top 10 in the American League for strikeouts. So that'll do it here for this. Again, I just wanted to kind of touch on what the situations were as we turn to September. So the American League and National League Game of the Week, basically what we're going to do is I'll do my traditional 1 AL, 1 NL Game of the Week for the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st. And then based on where we're standing from there over these final 8 days of the season, I will do basically, I'll pick and choose several relevant games to the playoff picture, however it stands at that point, to get us to the pennant chase and get us to the third postseason of the FSBL. Take a look at the games here for next Saturday. So we're looking for matchups that have 2 teams in the playoff hunt. Twins and Tigers might be a good one to do there. I mean, Yankees and A's obviously is a really enticing matchup, but because the A's are really kind of locked into their playoff spot, I'm a little bit more inclined to play 2 games that have something to play for. So I'd probably go either White Sox, Indians, or Twins, Detroit for the American League Game of the Week. And then for the National League Game of the Week, it's really not a great crop, honestly. There's not really many games of two teams in contention in the National League. We're probably going to do Dodgers Pirates um, from Pittsburgh as the again, the Pirates are pretty secure in that Central Division, but the Dodgers still trying to hold on to that second wild card spot, which they are tied in with the Cardinals. So that'll probably be the National League Game of the Week for September 7th. And then, like I said, we'll do that for the 7th, the 14th, and the 21st. And then from there, we're going to kind of pick and choose and load up on broadcasts. Started this broadcast very late tonight, so I'm sure most of you are actually probably watching this in the morning. But whenever you tune in, I greatly appreciate it. Kindly bang that like button and subscribe if you have not as of yet, as we get ready for the playoff push here in year 3 of the Franchise Stars Baseball League. Thanks again. Be good to each other, and we'll talk soon. The playoff action, or playoff push, I should say. Game broadcasts return tomorrow here on the channel. Have a good night, everybody.